All right, welcome back into the first real video on the Shermer Sports Network, also known as the SSN. And in today's video, we're going to be doing a full two-round mock draft for the upcoming NBA draft, which is taking place this Tuesday, June 23rd, 2026, if you're watching this at a later date. And this is really just going to be my predictions and projections for what I think is going to happen for the NBA draft. Um, I'm gonna go more in depth on the first round picks, obviously, because I think those are the ones that are gonna matter more. But and then the second round, I mean, I'm gonna give what I think could happen, but I mean, we never know. The second round is just so crazy. And this is going based off of no trade, so the Wizards will be picking one. I know there's been a lot of talk lately about who's gonna go number one. Is the Wizards gonna trade it? I'm just gonna have them pick here. And same with like all the second round picks. As you can see, like I know the Spurs have two late second round picks. I highly doubt that they'll use them just because they have an early first and their team's so young already. They're not really gonna have many roster spots open. So obviously, I think these are gonna be the 60 players drafted if this was the way it happened. So let's just get right into it. So at number one, we obviously have the Washington Wizards. I mean, we just found out recently that Trae Young declined his player option, so he's going to be a free agent, but there's already been reports that he plans on re-signing with Washington, so obviously you have them as a point guard. You have Bilal Coulibaly, Trey Johnson, some young players there to add to the wing along with Bub Carrington. A lot of good guard play there. Their bigs, obviously, Anthony Davis, Keyshawn George, is breakout, Alex Sarr. I mean, this is a really good combination of veteran and young players. And I think there's just the easiest pick here, and that's going to be AJ DeBonsta. He averaged 25.5 points per game and probably the best conference across top to bottom in college basketball last year. And he really should have won conference player of the year, but they gave it to Drayden Bradley for some reason. Yeah, I think this is a no doubter. I don't really think you can pick Peterson with, I mean, all of his concerns of his health and everything, and how many games he's gonna play. So yeah, I don't think you overthink this pick. I think you go to Bonsta, and I mean he fits really well with obviously. I mean you have Young at the one. You can play either Trey Johnson, maybe above Carrington at the two. You could Keyshawn George, I think he's more of like a 2 or 3 than maybe like a 4, but you can play that around with Devonsta to fit in, and obviously Davis and Alex Sarr. I think he just fits better for them. So yeah, we're gonna take Devonsta at number one. Next up, we got the Utah Jazz, and obviously they would love for Devonsta to fall to them. Obviously, with him playing at BYU and staying in state, but I just don't see it happening without them trading up. And I think this is a no-doubter pick for them as well. Their roster is very similar to Washington, actually. These two teams, I think, could have the biggest jumps to next year. And I mean, I'm sure hope are both like hoping for a playoff appearance. I mean, obviously you have Ace Bailey and Keontae George, um, two young guards that they can build from. Kyle Flipowski and Walker Kessler's kind of like their young talent, and then you obviously have Lauri Markkanen and Jaren Jackson Jr. So forwards are not a problem. So I don't think they can go Boozer or Wilson here. And yeah, you're obviously gonna go Darren Peterson, played in the Big 12 as well. I think that he could definitely turn out to be a better overall player than Devonsta in the NBA. I think he could have the better career, but I don't think it's safe to take him number one over Devonsta because they're both could be generational players. Maybe not generational, but like all NBA type players that could help you lead your team to the right direction. So I think Peterson's going to go number two here. Now we got number three, and obviously the Grizzlies are going to take one of the big three, whoever's left over. And this is a team that's going to have a lot of questions. Ja Morant, he could get traded maybe before or during the draft. So you don't really know what's going to happen to your point guard spot, but I mean, young talent. You have Zach Edey, Jalen Wells, Gigi Jackson, Taylor Hendricks. You got in the trade for Jaren Jackson. Cedric Coward had a really good year. Santi Aldama, I mean, he's 25, but still, I think relatively young. Scottie Pippen Jr., Ty Jerome. Obviously, he's not young, but it's definitely someone you can build around. So they got a lot of stuff there, but still a lot of questions. I think you start off by getting Cam Boozer. Obviously was the player of the year in college basketball last season. And just dominated. I mean, I wasn't really high on him until really the Michigan game when he just dominated that backcourt or front court. Um, and yeah, he's definitely someone you're gonna overlook. I feel like a lot of people are, but he could definitely end up becoming one of the better players. Obviously, he's gonna be one of the better players in the draft, but he could end up being maybe the best. And I think this is gonna work with Memphis. His passing ability with Zach Edey is gonna be interesting. And those two, it's definitely gonna be something to watch. So yeah, Boozer's gonna go number 3. Now at number 4, I think this is the most obvious pick here with the Chicago Bulls. Their talent is a little less like they don't have as much compared. I mean, Noah Songe was their first round pick last year. They didn't even play a game. You have Buzelis. You got Rob Dillingham in the trade for Ayo Dosunmu. So you have kind of something there. You have a lot of more questions as well. I mean, Leonard Miller as well. It could become something. Patrick Williams, he's still stuck on his contract. Not sure what you want to do with him. And obviously, we're going to probably pick his replacement here. And Caleb Wilson, I mean, just too talented to leave out of the top 4. Obviously, his college career came to an early end as he got injured, but I think he's going to be the safer pick here. He was just an all-around bucket at North Carolina, and obviously a rebounder, and I expect him to have a successful career here in Chicago. So we're going to take him. And now it gets interesting because we have so many guards that could easily go 5, but the one that's been really seen a lot for the Clippers is Keaton Wagler, and he's just an insane scorer at Illinois. I mean, he was hitting the craziest shots. He's going to be an amazing three-point shooter and just bucket getter that the Clippers, I think you can build around. Obviously, there's questions with Kawhi Leonard. Is he going to come back? Is he going to get traded? Um, your other stars like Darius Garland, obviously, you're going to want to keep him around. He traded James Harden for him. You're hoping Benedict Mathurin can be kind of a piece. I think he might be a free agent. He's not. Okay, so they still have him under contract, so that's good for them. Um, and really, John Collins kind of had a breakout year last year. Not like a breakout, but he was solid. Then you have Yannick Conan Niederhauser, their first round pick last season. Definitely a good building piece there. And then you're just going to add a scoring guard here with Keaton Wagler. I'm not sure if he's a better all around player compared to Darius Acuff, but I've just seen so many people, like professionals, like who obviously have ties to the team, say Wagler's going to go here. So I expect him to go. And yeah, they're going to take Keaton Wagler. So then the Nets are up next, and this is just an easy pick as well. I mean, Acuff's still on the board here at number 6. Probably was one of the better players in college basketball last season. Had a crazy tournament run in the NCAA tournament. Adding to this Nets roster, that's already plenty of young talent to go around. Start at like center. I mean, Nick Claxton maybe will be on the team next year. It's definitely a trade piece for them if he's not already a free agent. Okay, he's not. You have Danny Wolf, Jalen Wilson, Zaire Williams. You have Michael Porter Jr. as their vet right now. We'll see how that works out. Noah Clowney, Nolan Traore, Malachi Smith. Actually, forget Malachi Smith. Ben Sarif, Drake Powell, Terrence Mann, Igor Demon, Ochai Abaji. I mean, just so much young talent that don't really know how they're going to work out together, but go out and get a true scorer in Darius Acuff. I mean, you don't really have that in the guards. Igor Demon, obviously the point guard, is better passer. Yeah, I like this pick for the Nets. I think this is probably their best pick they they can have. So yeah, the Nets are going to take Acuff. Next up, we got the Sacramento Kings here, and I mean, this is another team kind of in the no man zone. I mean, they have some talent, but they're getting up there in age, and don't really they don't really have a building piece right now. I mean, obviously you have DeMar DeRozan, Zach LaVine, but both struggle to. I mean, especially LaVine struggling to stay healthy. I mean, Nikkei Clifford, first round pick from last year, is still here. Russell Westbrook, I highly doubt you bring him back, but he's definitely happy there. So I mean, you could get him to, mentor this pick. DeAndre Hunter was a big pickup. They still have Keegan Murray. He's only 25, so And then, I mean, your forwards and your centers definitely look a lot better. Sabonis, trade capital as well, maybe this offseason. Dylan Cardwell, Maximin Reynaud. Reynaud came onto the scene, second round pick from last year. So they definitely have pieces, and I think you're gonna go out and get maybe your guard here. I think Mikal Brown played point guard in college. Um, but yeah, just another great guard here, good scorer, just good passer. Obviously, averaged 4.7 assists. And we kind of saw how Louisville played without him at the end of the regular season when he was injured. I mean, most of us, including me, had them losing in the first round just because Brown wasn't playing. So you can tell how valuable of a player this guy is going to be. And yeah, I think it's a no-brainer for the Kings. You go him 7. Now we get to the interesting one because I have two players I think could go here, and I mean Kingston Flemings is just such a talent that you really can't have him fall out of the top 10 because he's he's going to be an underrated just because of his size, and I think his size really isn't going to matter, especially how he played for Houston. But Ade Mara could fit this team really well. Obviously, yes, you do have Oneka Okongwu, but yeah, you didn't do it against the Knicks. I mean, the Knicks absolutely bullied them in the paint this last playoff series, and you really don't have any other like big talent with Koloko, Bradley, and Landau. So Landau was a pretty good backup, but you're obviously looking for a starter here. Um, Isanua Okongwu paired up with Ade Mara would be insane. And I think they should go Mara here. I think that fits a little better because you have so many good guards, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Dyson Daniels, and you're hoping maybe to bring back CJ McCollum, especially if his playoff performance. I mean, he was their best player offensively for the most part. You still have Jalen Johnson, hoping. I think Kuminga maybe has a player option. Um, maybe I thought maybe he's still under contract. I'm not exactly sure there, but yeah, I think you go Kingston Flemings here because I mean, just offensively, he's a bucket. I watched him when he came to Ames. I was at that game and he didn't miss a mid-range shot. And for a guy like that, if you can get a mid-range shot like that, it's pretty much the same as a layup. And then obviously defensive. Houston's known for their defense, and he was one of their top defenders last year. Obviously, averaged 1.5 steals per game. He's a good three-point shooter. Yeah, he just brings everything to the table, and he can play that true one for the Hawks. They don't really have that. I mean, Alexander Walker and McCollum are more two guards, if anything. So yeah, I think they go Kingston Flemings here. But don't be surprised if a Damar could go there as well. Now, number 9, I think you just take best player available with Braden Burries. I mean, it says point guard here. He's definitely more of a shooting guard. That's what he played at Arizona with Jaden Bradley running the one. You obviously have Kyrie for the Mavericks, but a lot of rumors of him getting traded. You still have Ryan Nembhard, free, didn't even get drafted last year. Klay Thompson for 2. So maybe, yeah, you can put Burries behind Klay at the start of the year until maybe he's ready to start, or maybe start him over Klay or something. Obviously, you have Cooper Flag, PJ Washington, Derek Lively, Moa Cisse, I think that's how you say it, um, came onto the scene last year. So they have a lot of young talent here, along with veterans. Yeah, I think you just go best player available here, Braden Burries. Don't see why you wouldn't. He's a great three-point shooter, solid defender. He actually averages more steals than Fleming, so he's going to be definitely a good defender to pair with Cooper Flag and the rest of the Mavs squad. So now we enter the top 10 with the Milwaukee Bucks. Now, one of the more polarizing teams entering the draft because Giannis seems like he wants out, but maybe doesn't. I don't really know. I mean, it's kind of getting annoying. I feel like the Heat are gonna be the team to win him, but because I feel like they can afford to give up the most. I mean, as being a Timberwolves fan, I just feel like we would have to give up too many of our good role players to keep us in the running for as a title contender. So I just don't think it's worth it. And I'd honestly rather get like a Kyrie Irving to pair with Ant than like a Giannis. But if we could cheap it down and get a Giannis, I wouldn't mind that. But anyway, back onto them. Ryan Rollins was a great young piece for them. You still have Kevin Porter Jr. Um, Bigs really, you just have a lot of veterans. Obviously, you brought in Miles Turner. Just that did not work out. You still have Kyle Kuzma, but Yeah, I feel like we're in for a reset here, and I think they're gonna go for the upside in Nate Ahmed. I was hoping he would stay in college for one more year. I think that would have made a little more sense, but I feel like he could go as high as 10 with obviously me having the Bucks take him here. I feel like they have time for him to develop, and if he develops into what they think, I mean, I think this is a no doubter pick for them. Great offensive players. Defense is there too, especially if he puts on muscle. He's going to be a very good defender with his size. I mean, 6'9" small forward. He's going to be able to match up well with small forwards in the NBA as long as he gets some muscle on him. He is very skinny. But yeah, they're going to go Ahmet at number 10. So, next up for the Warriors, Steph Curry. I mean, this is probably you're entering the last maybe 2 to 3 years of his prime, maybe less. And you got obviously Jimmy Butler coming off a torn Achilles, I believe, or ACL. It's one of the two. It might be ACL actually. But anyway, and you have Kristaps Porzingis. You obviously got an Al Horford. I mean, they had an amazing playing games. Draymond Green's getting up there. So yeah, your vets are really there. Your young talents are right. LJ Cryer was a very good surprise. I mean, not really surprised, but for what you got him for. Moses Moody, he's going to be coming off a season-ending injury as well. So will he be the same? You have Pods. You never know what you're going to get with him. Will Richard though is a great young piece to have. And yeah, you really can tell they're missing kind of like a true center to pair with a Horford or Porzingis. And I mean, you have Quentin Post, but do you really want him to be your center for a championship run team? I don't know. I just think a Daymara still being here is perfect for them. I mean, what a rise he had. That NCAA tournament run just really put him on the surprised it took that long for him to get like on NBA like mock boards to jump up into a lottery pick. I think this is a could be a no doubt lottery pick, another big. His offense. I mean, if you can get a guard that can throw him lobs, so maybe the Warriors need to go after that. Because Curry can be a good passer, but like you maybe want a more elite passer like Elliot Cadeau. I'm not saying like Elliot Cadeau is going to be an elite player in the NBA or anything, but he was an elite passer for college, and just the way they were able to use him should be interesting for the Warriors offensively. Obviously, adds defensive talent to pair with Draymond. It could be an interesting defense next year. So yeah, I think if Mara's still here, no doubt you're going him. And then we have the OKC Thunder. Disappointing end of their year. I mean, but going back-to-back Western Conference Finals isn't anything to scoff over, and obviously you got the ring last year. But they have a lot of decisions to make. I think you're probably gonna lose Dort, Isaiah Joe, and Aaron Wiggins. I feel like Wiggins and Dort kind of have to be like must losses because I mean they barely were playing Wiggins and Dort is just I mean with Kason Wallace becoming pretty much a younger Lou Dort. Like what's the point of keeping Dort on the team? Or another player they might lose is obviously Isaiah Hartenstein, which would be horrible. I think that's their number one guy they have to keep that's not under contract. Um, so what's kind of they're missing here, and obviously Jalen Williams was barely played during this playoff run, and when he did, he was not healthy. Um, so I think here you go Yaxel Lindenborg. You don't have to develop. This is what I think it was a fifth year senior for Michigan, so he's pretty much already going to be entering his prime, and it's not someone you have to like wait and develop for, say like a Nate Ahmet, and he's going to be able to come in and add to the winning. Yeah, I think if Lindenborg's here, this is going to be a great pick, and honestly, it sucks to see him going to the Thunder because they're just going to get another great player. So now we get interesting. We head to the Miami Heat. Now this was the Heat without it, Giannis. So they still have Hero, Pele Larson. I think Hami Hawkes is probably going to be in that trade as well. You obviously have Bam, Kelly Ware, Aaron Wiggins, Jovic. This team is really solid for a lottery team. They couldn't really all put it all together last year. You got your point guard in Yakuzonis last year. So I think they're gonna go big. here, and Morris Johnson Jr., what a climb he has during the combine. Just a great rebounder. His shooting, I mean, he shot 34% from three, which is pretty good for a power forward, and it looked pretty good, and it's definitely something he can develop in the NBA. So I think he could add the shooting as, I mean, he's just a bully player. He's gonna bully you if he's bigger and really same size. I think, yeah, you're gonna see a run of three straight Michigan players go, and obviously the three best Michigan players from that national championship team. This makes sense. Now the Charlotte Hornets. I have Kareem Lopez here because I don't think he's gonna fall out of the lottery. I'm not even gonna pretend like I know a lot about him. If you want to read his scouting notes here, I'll leave that up um, for you to read real quick. You just want to pause and read that. This is a team: LaMelo Ball, Con Knipple. You have Liam McNeely. He didn't really play. Kobe White, Miles Bridges, Musa Diabate, Brandon Miller, Grant Williams, Ryan Cockburn. You have a lot of talent here, so you're just gonna add another forward here. You don't really have a true power forward. I mean, to John Salon, I'm not sure if he's more of a small forward. I think he's more of a small forward. And you have like Xavier Tillman, Grant Williams, not exactly the best number four. So you can go out and get Kareem Lopez. You would have maybe liked to see Morez fall here, but I mean, I feel like Lopez falling could be positive for the Hornets. I think you're gonna go him at number 14. And now, so that was the lottery. I feel like each team got kind of what they need. So now we go to the Chicago Bulls, the first team to have multiple picks here. So you go Caleb Wilson at 4. So you have your power forward. Next, I think you have to address the center position. I mean, Lachlan Olbrich and Nick Richards just it's not really gonna do it. Jalen Smith, you can definitely play him at the 5, but still, it's not really gonna do it for you if you want to win games. And Honest Steinbach is here from Washington. I really didn't see a lot because of play from him during the college year because Washington really wasn't that good. I mean, I feel like that's always happened. Markel Fultz, I remember him, number one overall pick, but the Washington team sucks, so like none of us were watching those games. But Steinbach is here. I don't really know too much about him, but it looks like he's I mean, center. He averaged 11 rebounds a game, 18 points. So he's gonna be your best rebounder for a Bulls team. I mean, that you really need everything. So he looks like he's gonna fit. I think this would be the best pick for the first pick outside of the lottery. So then, next up we have the Memphis Grizzlies. And there's still a couple players that are sitting here that are high picks. They're another their first. This is another team with another pick inside the first round. They went Cameron Boozer with their first one. And now you're just going to add even more young talent, and I think you go best player available with Liberian Phylon still here, another elite guard, and honestly, it's probably a lottery pick in any other draft and within these last like what 5 years. Um, so I mean, with him being here, he's a great shooter. Obviously, coming from Alabama, he shot 39% from three. Maybe work on that free throw percentage. Just 79% for a guard really isn't anything crazy. Definitely has the build to become a great defender. He's obviously he's pretty quick and he's a great shot creator being from Alabama. Yeah, I think this is a no-brainer. Liberian Phylon, best player available to the Grizzlies. And now the Thunder. Not sure if they'll keep this pick. They could be losing a lot, so maybe you do keep both your firsts. Because I think they do have a couple seconds as well. I don't know if you keep those ones for them, but you can get another talented player here. I mean, Cameron Carr is still available, and what a rise he had after that. I think it was what a 30 bomb in the NBA Draft Combine games, and just completely rose up to a possible lottery pick. And he was like on the door of the first round beforehand. So just to jump here, and I mean, he's an amazing athlete. That's what you're usually getting from Baylor. He's going to be an amazing defender, but his scoring is on another level. He's going to be able to create off-ball shooting, and they have him as shooting guard. He's probably more of a small. Well, he's only 6'4", so maybe he is a shooting guard. You can add this to that Gasson Wallace, Alex Caruso, build them up. Definitely with this pick, you can definitely go younger, and then you don't need necessarily a guy that can win now. So maybe they go Jaden Coytons here, but I don't know all about that. I think safe pick here is going to be Cam Carr. Now we go to number 18, and this is going to be kind of an interesting pick just because I think they can go so many different ways here. I think maybe Dalen Swain could be a possible pick here. Akore as well. Sanak maybe. I'm not too high on him yet, but I think we're going to be looking at Christian Anderson. Yes, you already have LaMelo Ball as your true one. So, but I think they have a good core starting five here with Ball, Knipple, Bridges, maybe. Brandon Miller, you can move him up to the 3. And then obviously Kareem Lopez and a Cockbrenner. And that's a starting 5. So you really don't need necessarily a starting caliber player here. You're just going to need a good threat from the bench. And Kobe White, I mean, he's only 26, so maybe you try to get it like a cheaper version of him in a way. And that's Christian Anderson. An elite shooter, probably the best shooter in this class, at least from the guard perspective. So probably best shooter. Maybe actually Isaiah Evans later. You could maybe compete for that, but for these high pick guards, I think he's the best shooter out of all of them. He's an elite passer. I got to see him play as well in Hilton Coliseum, and they absolutely cooked us. So he's definitely one of a talent player. He's obviously played on Germany's national team. He's got a lot of experience. I think honestly having him as like the 22 best is a little low. I think he could go up here for Charlotte. He's going to be a great off the bench piece for them. Next up, we have the Toronto Raptors. Now this is an interesting pick because we get into kind of our first like real playoff team besides the Thunder. And they have a pretty early pick for the 5 seed. And they already have a lot to go off of. Emmanuel Quickly, Jamal Shed, Jacoby Walters, Scotty Barnes, RJ Barrett. They have him as a forward. That's kind of interesting. Colin Murray Boyles came out of nowhere during that play. Well, not out of nowhere, sorry. But came to an elite player for the Raptors during that playoff run. That's definitely going to be a centerpiece for them, him and Scotty Barnes, and Quickly and Shed. So I think they could go win now mode if they want to do that. Probably like a Bennett Sturts or like a Dalen Swain would make more sense. But I think Chris Sanak is still here. And now he has a lot of upside. I mean, you look at his college stats, they're really not that great. He's a very inconsistent shooter. That's something he's going to need to add to his game. He's a great rebounder. He can hit the 3, but he's just really not consistent. So I wouldn't count on it from him, but he can definitely, build it up. And obviously playing for Houston, you're not really going to get amazing offensive threat from him, but that's kind of just wasn't his position. And he wasn't going to be, I mean, he was probably the 3rd or 4th guy to go to when they needed scoring anyway. He might have been their 5th. So he was, but he said in interviews he wanted to go to Houston to work on his defense. And I think he was a very solid defender. He's definitely not going to be a liability, and that's probably what you're going to draft him for. But is the guy's going to be at work? It's going to be 2 to 3 years. So I mean, he could end up looking back if this is how the draft board looks. He could end up being the best player available, and the Raptors make a right pick. But it's definitely going to be a questionable pick. And I honestly think if I was like a GM, I wouldn't take him until like the mid-20s. But he's young, so he's obviously going to go a little higher because he could become something great. So yeah, Raptors are going to go Sanak here. And now we have the defending Western Conference champs and runners-up, the San Antonio Spurs. This pick here is interesting. So, I mean, you have Castle, Harper, Vassell, Carter Bryant, and Wemby. I mean, that's just an amazing young talent. Like, I mean, and Keldon Johnson, like, how our team's going to, and Julian Champagne, I mean, you just keep naming them. Obviously, you have De'Aaron Fox and the Spurs. I mean, could be something happening. I've seen reports of Dylan Harper saying he wants a guaranteed starting spot next year. But the front office still trusts Fox, which I don't know how you do after that playoff disaster class from him. But I mean, I thought Fox was going to be an obvious trade piece, just like Giannis, but seems like maybe he's staying, and then maybe you trade Harper, which would be insane. I mean, Dylan Harper was outstanding, probably their best player during the finals consistently. I mean, obviously Wemby, but he struggled offensively in a couple of their games. Harper was always their best guy, and Stephon Castle was pretty bad, and especially that last game. So what are you gonna go here? I think you just go another young piece guard. You could maybe look for a forward, maybe a Koa Pete here, but I feel like they're kind of in win now mode. So maybe Joshua Jefferson. I just think that's a little high for Jefferson. Maybe an Allen Graves as well could go there. I think they're gonna take Dalen Swain, just an absolute bucket getter for Texas. I mean, what a tournament run that he had. He's also pretty quick. He's gonna be a good driver. And he's just gonna go out and get buckets. And I honestly adding that to the Spurs, that's definitely not something they need, but definitely they can pair up with a backup guard at the 2 spot. Because I think if you move Harper into the starting spot, you're kind of weak off of bench guards there. So this would just be another addition and another young piece for the Spurs, which is exactly what they need. And now we go to pick 21 for the Detroit Pistons. I mean, the 1 seed in the East, it didn't end, didn't even get to the Eastern Conference Finals, but they have something to build off of, which is what any team wants, especially a young team. Cade Cunningham, Asar Thompson, Danish Jenkins came onto the scene there. You still have Chaz Lanier. I'm not sure if he's ever going to see minutes, if he's going to turn into what he was at Tennessee. Tobias Harris. Ron Holland is still here. He's only 20 years old. Jalen Duren, obviously. I mean, you're probably going to get him back for a lot cheaper than you thought in the regular season. Paul Reed was outperforming him. Duncan Robinson. So you still have a lot, but you're really missing scoring. Now, Isaiah Evans, I think, could be a good pick here. Is that a little early? Him and Malik Thomas. Obviously, see these three are fits for them. But I feel like they need shooting, and the best shooter available, besides Evans, is going to be Bennett Sturts. But he's more of a 1, so do you really go out and get a 1 with Cade Cunningham? I do have Bennett Sturts going here. I feel like this is the one pick I'm not confident on at all. If I had to pick like one, because why would you go? I mean, Cunningham is your guy at the 1 spot, and that's what Sturts played. Do you try and turn him into more of a 2? But what makes Sturts so special was his passing ability. Um, Compared to the other guards, I think that's what makes him stand out from the others. Besides maybe like his 3-point shooting is only 35%, but I mean he could hit from anywhere on the court. So you're gonna go Sturts here. I feel like he's fallen more than you would want, or he would want, but it's just an interesting pick for them going a point guard when they have their point guard. Next up, we have the 76ers. This is a team that struck gold with VJ Edgecombe last year at the number 3. I mean, can you really say struck gold when he took him number 3? But taking him over Ace Bailey was definitely the right decision. Tyrese Maxey, you have your 2 and 3 right there, and then obviously Joel Embiid, if he can stay healthy. Paul George looked great last year. So you definitely have some talent here, but really I think the 1 spots or the 2 positions you need are point guard and a power forward. So they could go Koa Pete. He's going to be more of a project than a win now mode kind of player. So maybe Joshua Jefferson, he's definitely more of a 4. I mean, I watched him play his last 2 years of college. He's definitely going to be a better 4 than a 3. Um, but I mean, best player available here is a point guard. You could go Quaintance, but I feel like he's more of a center than a power forward, but we'll see. Okore still on the board for Stanford. Looks like he's gonna be a good scorer, assist, rebounds, steals. I really haven't seen a lot of his game either, which sadly happens to a couple of these first round draft picks. But I think he's gonna be their pick here. They get a true point guard, which they really. I mean, Kyle Lowry, he's 40 though. I mean, come on. and I doubt he even yeah, I don't even think he played that much minutes. Obviously, you traded away Jared McCain. Not sure if that was really worth it with how he was doing on the Thunder. So I think you go Corey here, best player available. I think he can help you win now. Definitely more than like a Cole Pete could. So they're gonna go that. Next up at the 23rd pick, the Atlanta Hawks. So they won't go Flemings with their first pick, and now I think you got to go center or big here. Terrace Reed, I think this is a little high for what he's projected. I think he's going to be an early second round. He could go late first, though. I don't think he goes here to the Atlanta, though. I think you're going to be looking here at Henry Vassar from North Carolina. Decides to stay in the draft, so he's obviously expecting a first round pick for him. I think it's going to be here. He's no Ade Mara, but he was solid defensively. He's going to be a lot more of an offensive threat, I think, especially from what it says here. But definitely someone you can turn in to a defender. He averaged a block a game. And maybe that is why they're drafting defensive upside. I think you can go Quaintance as well. Don't be surprised if he goes here. But I feel like the Hawks are in a lot more win now mode. So I think they're going to go Henry Vassar with their pick. Now we have the defending NBA champs, the New York Knicks, up here at pick 24. And I mean, they have most of their roster in check for next year, besides like Mitchell Robinson and obviously Landry Shamet and Jose Alvarado. I think they're both free agents as well. So I think you can bring both of those back, but then lose Mitchell Robinson, which I don't think is necessarily a bad thing. Obviously with his free throws and Hack-a-Mitch was a thing during the playoffs. Spurs tried to use it. Obviously it didn't really matter. They got blown out anyway. Not blown out, but blew leads anyway. I think this is the team that can take a chance on Quaintance. Obviously coming off an injury where he missed pretty much the entire season. As you can see by his stats, I probably should have put up his Arizona State ones, but he is coming from Kentucky. I think you could get another Mitchell Robinson from this. Obviously, I think he's not really quite the build. I feel like he's skinnier than Mitchell Robinson, but he could become down the line into Mitchell Robinson, where he's mostly the defensive big to go with Cat and become that new 1-2 punch, along with maybe Huck Porty if he comes to what they're expecting out of him. And I think Quaintance finally goes off the board. He could be a lottery, but I think he's gonna slide just because there's so many more questions than answers with him coming off his injury. Next up, we have the Lakers. Now, will LeBron come back or will he not? I don't know. Are you going to be able to afford him to bring him and Reeves back? I mean, you would hope to, especially with Luka, but they definitely could go big here because just recently Luka said that he wants more of a lob threat big because Ayton really wasn't putting that in. Jackson Hayes really isn't anything special there. Um, I don't know if you necessarily want to go that into the draft. I don't know if Terrace Reed, actually, Terrace Reed would not be that center for them. That type of like center. He's more of a defensive and a rebounder than like a lob threat. So I don't think you're going to go center here. And I think you just take shooting. Shooting was definitely a big problem. And just really offense in general was a problem for the Lakers. I mean, in a series, oh, no, yeah, they did win. Sorry, I'm thinking of the Rockets there. Whoops. But still, I mean, both the Rockets and Lakers, they were struggling offensively. I feel like there were a couple games that didn't even break 100 points. So add a 3-point threat here. Hopefully he can, obviously stay healthy, but that's for any pick. So, but yeah, it's kind of like the big thing missing. Obviously, Austin Reeves and Luka are great, but you kind of need more of like an off-ball shooter that can catch and shoot, and I think that's what you could get out of an Isaiah Evans. Probably he's top 2, top 3 shooter in the draft, so I think that's what you're getting out of him. Next up at 26, I just think this fit would be amazing. I'm not sure if it's actually going to happen with Joshua Jefferson. Could go Cole Pete here, but I feel like Jokic, I mean, you're in win now mode, especially after what happened last year. You're going to try to retool the team. Um, Christian Braun hitting a lot of money. Jamal Murray was a no-show in their last game. Tim Hardaway, Bruce Brown, just not sure if you can get it with them. Peyton Watson probably going to be gone. I just don't think they're going to have enough money to pay him what he deserves and what he's going to get on the market. Still have Aaron Gordon. So this pick I mean, it has him at a small forward, so maybe you can try Jefferson at the 3 or just play 3 bigs. But I mean, his passing ability is pretty much like Jokic. This would just be a fun get. I mean, obviously though, if you want more Malik Thomas, I'm just kind of hoping he kind of falls. But I would not be surprised if like a Malik Thomas pick here. But I think it's gonna be Joshua Jefferson if he's on the board, or if this is how the board looks. Yeah, I think they're gonna go him there. Now at number 27, this is an interesting one. Celtics. I mean, are they gonna trade Jaylen Brown? I don't see the reason why they should, especially after the season last year. Him and Tatum still here. Derek White. I mean, he took a big regression this year, especially from his shooting. It's a little concerning. He's still Peyton Pritchard, Shireman, Sam Hauser, all shooters there. And your bigs are obviously questionable. You got Vucevic, but he's 35, so not sure how much you can lean on him. I think you're going to go young talent here. Go at the 4, which is probably your weakest spot. You don't really have a true 4. Um, I think Koa Pete, he was really good in college. I thought he was not I say underrated, but for the most part, I thought he was their best player besides Jaden Bradley throughout the whole year. Obviously, you can make the case for Burries, and obviously Burries is going way ahead of Pete. Um, but I feel like Pete's gonna be. I mean, looking back, he probably should have gotten in the lottery with the talent that he has. He needs to add a shot. Jeez. Um, he really wasn't much of a shooter during the season. So I think that's something, or he wasn't really a shooter at all. He does say 35% from 3, but I highly doubt he took a lot of those. And obviously his free throw shooting is pretty abysmal. So yeah, you just got to add more of a shot because he's obviously his strength's one of his strengths. And yeah, he's a great rebounder. So yeah, I think Pete is gonna go here to the Boston. And now we have my Minnesota Timberwolves. And if this is how the board looked, Malik Thomas is just an obvious fit here. I think he could probably play the 1, but I don't think you're gonna need him to start. I think you're just gonna need another guard off the bench who can um provide scoring, and that's what you're gonna get with them. I'm hoping that we re-sign to Sumu. We bring back Edwards, and then we have McDaniels, Reed, Gobert, Randall. Hopefully, we trade Julius Randall. I feel like we can sell high on Gobert this offseason too, especially when we have Beringer and Zaraski. I feel like, I mean, Gobert, I mean, it's great series against Gobert or against Jokic, but then against Wimby, we saw his weaknesses show, especially on the offensive end. Jeez, man. Um, we need more of an offensive threat from the center's position, and then Julius Randle was just a no-show the entire playoffs. It felt like he had maybe a couple good games, but not what you wanted in a number 2. So you're not really gonna get replacements out of here, but I just don't think you need that. Because you could put Naz Reid at the 4 to play with Beringer. Maybe put Beringer at the 4. I guess he's listed as a forward here. But yeah, I think you're gonna go Malik Thomas here. Just gives you another guard. Really kind of feels similar to Terrence Shannon, which is why maybe it's not the best pick here. I think you could go for the Sergio De Lara at the point guard. I don't think you want to go Braden Smith in the first round. That would be my only other maybe pick here, especially if Reed and Graves as the other 2 kind of first round talents here. I think yeah, it's gonna be Malik Thomas for the Timberwolves. So then going now to Cleveland, second to last pick here in the first round. You see the fit. Obviously, if Allen Graves, you have Harden, Mitchell. I think you're you're gonna try and rerun it, especially after making the Eastern Conference Finals. Obviously, you got swept, but you were still there. And give this team like a full season. Maybe you could pull something off, or maybe it gets even worse. You just never know. But you have pieces here. Bigs, you're pretty set with Evan Mobley and Jared Allen. Dean Wade probably going to be gone. He's going to be probably asking for a lot, especially, yeah, after he had a pretty solid postseason. Max Strus, Jalen Tyson kind of at that 3 spot to pair of Harden and Mitchell. I think you can go Allen Graves here. He's going to be a fit for the Cavs. And while he came back to college to get drafted in the first round, and I just don't really see him. I think he definitely could go up in the early 20s, maybe instead of Cole Pete, they take Graves. Obviously, that could happen, but I think you just go best player available. I think Graves is probably better than Terrace Reed. Maybe not right now, but he instead of going to LSU and making NIL, probably a bag, probably 3 to 5 million at the lowest. He stays because he thinks he's going to get drafted in the first round. So I think this is where he goes, but he's cutting it pretty close. And then finally, we're here for the final pick in the first round, day one of the NBA draft. Mavericks are back on the clock. You got Burries, who is listed here as a true point guard, but I think he's going to be more of a two. So I think you probably go point guard here because it's going to be your weakest spot. And I don't think Kyrie's going to be on this roster. There's a chance. I feel like there's about a 50-50 chance he gets traded or he stays. I think a lot of teams are going to be asking for him. And I just think De Laura is going to go here at the end of the first round. I see a lot of people projecting him to maybe the Timberwolves as well, which a backup point guard is what we're going to need because I just don't think Mike Conley's going to be able to cut it. I think Conley should stay on the roster, but just kind of be that veteran, like maybe enter the Joe Ingles spot with him being gone. So he could maybe go to Minnesota. If Malik Thomas is on the board, you definitely draft him there. But yeah, DeLara is going to go last to get a true point guard for the Mavs. And now we're on to the second round. So I'm going to go kind of quick with these picks because you just never know if the Knicks are even going to have this pick come draft night. So with that first pick, they're going to go Alex Carabin, add shooting to an already championship level team. Could go maybe Terrace Reed here, but you go big with your first pick. Why not add the best shooter left on the board? Next up, we have Memphis, who took Phylon and Boozer. So why not just add another guard? Ryan Conwell is going to be maybe a borderline first round pick. I'm not sure, but I think he's going to go here. And he looks like he's going to fit for the Grizzlies. So I think that's a great pick there. Next up, we have the Nets, who went Acuff early. And I mean, you have Terrace Reed sitting here. Kind of is a different, maybe kind of similar to a player to Nick Claxton. And if you can just get another one, why not? To come off the bench. And obviously, you have so many young pieces here that you can take a chance on a Terrace Reed who could have been a first round draft pick. I feel like this would be a no brainer for the Nets. Then you got the Kings. Um, their bigs really aren't the question. You go guard first round, but you don't know if you're really going to be able to get rid of DeRozan or Levine this offseason. So DeRozan is a free agent, so I don't really see the reason to bring him back unless it's a player option, but it doesn't really seem like that. So you don't really know if you're going to be stuck with Levine, and you don't really want to bring Zach Levine off the bench for like a second round shooting guard like a Richie Saunders or anything. So I think he goes Zubia Ejiofor here. He's not really going to bring any shot creation. 30% from three for a power forward isn't horrible, but he's going to be a rebounder, just a great defender. So can add to defense for the Kings. So I think, yeah, he'll go there. Next up, Spurs, second round pick. One of the three that they have. No, it's just they only have two. But no, yeah, they do have three. They have two later in the 40s. Bob Miller is here. Power forward's probably their weakest position, but with Carter Bryant probably going to be stepping into that role soon here. But yeah, you get a power forward here who he almost rose up to the first round. He had a good rise from the NBA Combine, and he was great at Cincinnati. I thought he was probably an underrated player in the Big 12. He's a good shot creator, shot maker, a good rebounder, and overall versatile player. So yeah, I think the Spurs will take him here. Then up next, we got the Clippers, which this is no, yeah, they got Wagler first. They don't really have a true backup point guard. I mean, Sean Padilla, but I'm not sure if they're thinking Padilla is long term or not. So I think you can go Braden Smith here. Great passer to like a big like Yannick Koenig Niedenhauser. Um, yeah, t no idea if they'll even have that pick. I just feel like Braden Smith's a good player to take there. Next up for the Thunder, I think they can take a chance on a player, and that is Dylan Mitchell. I think I mean, look at that, 6.7, 3-point percentage. That is horrible. Wow, I did not know it was that bad, but yeah, I knew he didn't have a shot. But man, is he going to be a defensive machine? And I think the Thunder, they can use that. They can use more defense. You don't really need scoring, especially with their first two picks of Lindenberg and Carr. So that's going to be create offense. I think you can add Mitchell to defense if they even have this pick. Again, it's the second round. Who knows? Next up, Chicago Bulls. I think you can take a chance on a Richie Saunders because if it works out, then you just got a uh, a good shooter, a good playmaker, a very solid defender, who led BYU these last 2 years. Obviously, he's going to be coming off a season-ending injury, which is why I think they can take the chance here and take him here at number 38. The next up at number 39, I think the Houston Rockets with their first pick of the draft. I think you got to stay in state for this with an Emmanuel Sharp. Uh, Offense was a problem, and that's all Emmanuel Sharp is going to. Well, that's one of his big things. I mean, 3-point shooting is outstanding, and that's where you kind of struggled. Obviously, they were down Fred VanVleet, so you had to have Reed Shepard and Amon Thompson step into that role. They're trying to be a shooter, and obviously Amon Thompson is not a shooter at all. So I could see Oweh going here. I wouldn't be surprised there. Maybe like a Copeland. But why not just stay in and get a good defender? You're going to get an elite defender at least, and with a very good chance of becoming an offensive threat. Next up, at number 40, we have the Boston Celtics. I think you just go best player available and grab Otega Oweh, especially if the question's around like Derek White. Is he going to be the same player as he was just 2 years ago? So yeah. Next up at number 41, we have the Miami Heat, who went Morris Johnson earlier. I think they're just gonna go bet. I'm just gonna take best player available here, Trevon Brazile. Um, Not really overthinking this. If this is the board, I don't really know if they go Brazile. I think they maybe go like a Copeland, or I mean they do need some fours, especially if they lose. Well, if they get Giannis, so they lose Hami Hawkwest for Giannis. Maybe not, but you could play him at a 3. Yeah, you could definitely play Brazil at a 3 as well. So I'm just gonna take him there. 42 for the Spurs. Let's just get a big to back up Wemby. Obviously, Biyombo and Plumlee aren't gonna be on the roster for much longer. So we're gonna go Ogana Onyenso from Virginia. I think that's how you say it. He's gonna be a defensive player. Spurs, I really don't really think they need offense. All their offense is gonna be getting production from obviously Wemby and their guards. And you go Swain and Miller in the first 2 picks. So yeah, add defense here in this late second, or I guess mid second. Great addition for them. Then the Brooklyn Nets. Let me find him. They're really looking for a point guard, or like maybe like a backup point guard. I mean, Acuff does say point guard here. So maybe they go maybe like a Tyler Nickel or a Kadir Copeland, maybe like a Seth Trimble as well. But I have the next international player going off the board here, and Jack Kyle. Or is it Kyle? I don't. This website has him as number 98, but I think he will go in the second round. And then for the next Spurs pick, we're just gonna go Malik Brown, add more defense. I'm sure this pick is gonna get traded. If they use their first 3, I don't think they need 4 draft picks to enter. But yeah, we're just going with Malik Brown here. Sacramento Kings. They're just gonna take their best fit, which is gonna be Tyler Nickel. After adding Brown and Ejiofor, let's add some offense to go here. Up next, then we have the Orlando Magic, and Jaden Bradley is still on the board here at number 46. I think you're gonna get a great college player, and you have questions maybe about Jalen Suggs and if you want to play him or bring him back to just have Anthony Black ride the bench after a great year he had. So maybe you're going to move on from Jalen Suggs and you can add Jalen Bradley to enter that backup point guard spot. Next up, we have the Phoenix Suns with their first pick. Um, and they're a very balanced team. I don't really know what they could do here to like add a starter, but you're gonna get maybe best player available in Jacoby Gillespie, great shooter. Coming from Tennessee, he's gonna be able to play his defense as well. All around great player. Expect him to go there. Next up, the Mavericks. They go guards in their first two picks. I think next up we're gonna go Toby Lawal. Obviously, it says Nate Biddle. I don't think Biddle's gonna get drafted. Or Martinelli. I just think it's a little early to go Nick Martinelli. I think you're gonna go Toby Lawal. Here, Denver Nuggets, second pick up. Add shooting. It's probably their biggest thing. So Seth Trimble. Nick Martinelli could become, but I'm not sure if he's necessarily a catch and shoot kind of guy. But I think Seth Trimble can definitely turn into that. And adds defense, which is another major problem for the Nuggets. So they go. I mean, I forget I even talk about their defense for the Jefferson pick. Jefferson is an elite defender. Not maybe not elite, but he's solid enough that you can turn him into an elite defender, and I think you can do the same thing here for Seth Trimble. Then for the Raptors, Kadir Copeland's fallen long enough. Don't really overthink this pick and just take a strong second-round player. Next up, Washington Wizards. You have a couple point guards, but you might be maybe moving Carrington or Coulibaly to maybe the 2, so Thornton, best player, probably best player available. Why not take him there? Then at 52, you got the Clippers. We're going to go another point guard. Actually, though, I originally had this pick at being Keelan Boswell, but I don't know why they would go two point guards. I think that was just a mistake on my end. So we're going to go with Keyshawn Hall. Just feel like we're just going to keep it simple. Keyshawn Hall is going to get drafted here. Kind of a mistake on mine, but who really cares? Because the last 10 picks could be anybody. They could probably pick like Isaac McNeely for all I know. So at number 53, we're gonna go Nick Martinelli, another scorer for the Rockets, which they desperately need. They're Warriors now here at number 54. They worked out with Tamin Lipsey, and I just really want to see Lipsey get drafted, so we're gonna pick him. The Knicks, then you get Isaiah Nelson still on the board, and I think a very underrated player. Maybe could go mid-40s, but we're going to have him here at number 55. Chicago Bulls with Keelan Boswell still on the board. I think they're going to go him here. I did have Uzan originally, but I think Boswell would be the better NBA prospect, so we're going to go Boswell. 57 then for the Atlanta Hawks. Tyler Bilodeau is still on the board here, and his shooting can definitely add to an elite offense for the Hawks. There at number 58 for the Pelicans, Cade Tyson. I've seen him rising up into late second round, so I think he's going to go here to the Pelicans. He could also go to Minnesota. But Rafael Castro's still kind of here, so I figured, he's talented enough to get drafted, so we're going to take him there. And then the Wizards, they could really use anything here, so they're just going to go Felix Okpara, add a backup center to Alex Sarr, and with Sarr being so skinny, you can get a solid rebounding center. So there we go. There we have it. The full 2-round mock draft for the 2026 NBA draft. This draft is going to be very talented, especially that first, obviously the lottery. I think first round, I think every team could hit on their pick and end up with a player who's going to be adding all-star appearances, all-NBA, and hopefully playoff wins, series wins for teams. Second round, you're going to definitely be able to hit on some veteran players, and there's going to be a lot more veteran players going here. Actually, I didn't even notice that. They do ratings here for the pick. So, like, Nate Almet, I guess. Oh, it's just based off the ranking, so not really actually doing it. But, yeah. If you want to use this website, I'm gonna leave the link down in the description. It's been fun to run mock drafts. And you can actually do trades in this. So if I wanted to get crazy, Um, I would probably add trades, but I just don't know what's gonna happen, and there haven't really been any crazy trades on NBA draft night in a while, I don't think. So maybe that changes this year, obviously, with a lot of talent possibly getting moved, maybe like a Giannis, Kyrie, Kawhi, all possibly could get moved. So maybe some bigger names. Obviously, that number one pick, there's been a lot of debate and just rumors about, well, DeBonsta might not be a guaranteed number one overall pick. So you just never know what Utah would send for send in a trade package to get that number one pick, and maybe it just interests Washington so much. But yeah, that's gonna do it for today. I just want to thank you for taking your time and watching this, especially if you watched to the end, because I know this is gonna be a long video. Yeah. So yeah, thanks for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.